The moment everything changed began on an ordinary morning, the kind people rush through without noticing the sky. Sunlight poured between glass towers, traffic hummed like a living thing, and nobody paid attention to the single father standing at the crosswalk with exhaustion written into the lines of his face. Then, in one violent second, a scream cut through the daylight, a body collapsed on the pavement, and the world seemed to stop breathing. Before fear could freeze anyone else in place, Haris Kadir dropped his worn backpack, ran forward, and knelt beside the woman who had fallen. She was sharply dressed, powerful even in stillness, but her skin had gone ashen, and her breathing came in shallow, broken gasps. People circled at a distance, some filming, some panicking, some simply staring. Harris did not think about how late he already was, or how his phone had 3 missed calls from his child's school, or how he was just a warehouse supervisor nobody important would listen to. He thought only about the way life sometimes slips away if no one acts fast enough. With steady hands learned from years of first aid shifts he once took to earn extra money, he kept her breathing steady, signaled for help, and stayed with her until the ambulance arrived. By the time sirens echoed through the street, her pulse was stronger, her eyes fluttered, and the line between life and loss quietly pulled back. If you believe that kindness and second chances can change lives, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Change Life. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Harris did not stay to hear her name or accept gratitude. He picked up his bag, wiped the dust from his hands, and ran toward the bus stop, heart still pounding. Being a hero did not excuse being late again. His life was a careful balance of morning school drop-offs, long shifts, evening homework, and silent prayers that the numbers would somehow work out by the end of each month. Since his wife had passed 3 years earlier after a short illness, the world had felt heavier. Every decision carried double weight. Every mistake felt like it could tip everything over. By noon, the city had already moved on from the incident. Social media clips circulated briefly, headlines mentioned an unnamed passerby, and then attention shifted to something louder. Harris spent his lunch break in the warehouse office, staring at a warning notice from management about tardiness. He imagined his daughter, Alina, sitting by the classroom window, waiting longer than other children, wondering if her father would come. That fear hurt him more than hunger. Across the city, the woman whose life he had steadied woke up in a private hospital room bathed in daylight. Her name was Samira Rothwell, CEO of a multinational logistics firm, a woman used to controlling outcomes, numbers, and futures. Doctors explained how close she had come to cardiac failure and how a stranger's quick response had likely saved her life. Samira listened in silence, fingers curled around the blanket, her mind replaying the feeling of falling and the unexpected calm of someone holding her hand and refusing to let her drift away. When Samira returned to work days later, the city looked different to her. The glass towers seemed less solid. The urgency of meetings felt thinner. She asked her security team to find the man who had helped her, not for publicity, not for a thank you photo, but because something inside her would not rest. It took time. The footage was grainy, the crowd was large, but eventually they traced him to a warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The meeting happened on a bright afternoon, sunlight spilling across concrete floors and stacked pallets. Harris was called into the office unexpectedly, heart sinking, expecting discipline. Instead, he found a woman standing there, posture straight, eyes sharp, yet softened by something unfamiliar. Recognition flickered between them, quiet and sudden. Samira did not approach him like a benefactor or a superior. She looked at him like someone who had seen the edge of something terrible and been pulled back. She explained who she was, what had happened, and why she had come. Harris listened, overwhelmed, his hands rough against his cap. He tried to brush it off as nothing special, something anyone would have done. But Samira shook her head slowly, daylight catching the seriousness in her expression. She told him that not everyone stops, not everyone knows what to do, and not everyone stays. Within a week, Harris's life tilted again, this time not toward loss but toward possibility. Samira offered him a position within her company, one that came with stability, healthcare, and hours that would allow him to be present for his daughter. It was not charity. She framed it as recognition of skill, reliability, and character. Still, when Harris read the offer letter, his hands trembled. It felt unreal, like hope stepping too close, like something that could disappear if he blinked. The first day at the new job began in daylight. Sun rising over a different part of the city, one with cleaner sidewalks and quieter mornings. Harris packed Alina's lunch without rushing for once. He walked her to school, hand in hand, listening to her talk about a drawing she wanted to make. When he left her at the gate, she smiled without worry, and that alone felt like success. Adjusting was not easy. Harris carried old doubts into new hallways. He worried about making mistakes, about not belonging among people who spoke confidently and dressed sharply. He stayed late, learned quickly, and asked questions even when his pride resisted. Samira watched from a distance, not hovering, not interfering, but noticing. She recognized the way he approached work like he approached that moment on the street, steady, focused, unwilling to walk away when things became difficult. Their interactions were small at first, professional, respectful. Over time, daylight lunches turned into conversations about leadership, responsibility, and the quiet sacrifices people make without applause. Samira learned about Alina, about bedtime stories read under flickering lights during power outages, about grief that never fully leaves but softens at the edges. Harris learned that behind Samira's success was a childhood shaped by instability, a relentless drive to never feel powerless again, and a loneliness that success had not cured. The city continued its rhythm around them. Projects succeeded. Challenges rose and fell. Harris's confidence grew, not because of the title he held, but because his life felt less like survival and more like something that could be built. Samira found herself lingering in meetings longer than necessary, walking through the office floor during daylight hours just to feel connected to something real, something earned, not through contracts, but through human effort. One afternoon, as sunlight slanted through the windows and the office hummed quietly, Samira experienced a moment of stillness that surprised her. She realized that the gratitude she felt toward Harris had evolved into something deeper, something warmer. It was not born from rescue or obligation, but from witnessing resilience up close. Harris, too, felt change stirring, though he resisted naming it. After years of closing himself off, opening that door felt dangerous. The turning point did not come with drama, but with honesty. Samira invited Harris and Alina to a company family event held in a sunlit garden. Alina ran freely among other children, laughter echoing under clear skies. Watching his daughter so at ease, Harris felt a knot loosen in his chest. Samira knelt beside Alina, listening attentively to her stories, treating her not as an accessory but as a person who mattered. In that moment, Harris understood that this was not about gratitude anymore. This was about shared values, about choosing kindness again and again, even when it feels risky. Life did not transform overnight. There were still hard days, misunderstandings, and moments where fear whispered that happiness never lasts. But daylight after daylight, trust formed. Support replaced strain. Harris stopped feeling like an outsider in his own life. Samira stopped feeling like she had to carry everything alone. Near the end of the year, on a calm morning washed in soft sunlight, Harris stood at the same crosswalk where everything had begun. The city moved as always, indifferent and alive. He thought about how one choice, one step forward instead of away, had reshaped his world. Not because of luck alone, but because kindness had met courage at the right moment. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps spread stories of hope, resilience, and second chances to people who may need them most. Before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below what kindness means to you, or share a moment when a single act changed your life. Your words might inspire someone reading them today. As daylight faded into a gentle afternoon glow, Harris walked home with Alina, her hand warm in his, the city no longer feeling like an enemy to survive, but a place where miracles could quietly happen. Somewhere not far away, Samira looked out over the skyline, heart lighter than it had been in years, knowing that the life she was building now was rooted not in power but in compassion, and in that shared understanding, both of them found something they had not been searching for, yet needed all along, a future shaped by courage, kindness, and the simple choice to stop when it mattered most.